Okay, we're going to talk about launching voice channel in both broadcast and workflow campaigns. The first step is click on your name in the bottom left and navigate over to connections, and then choose the new voice tab here. And it should say nothing's activated because by default there's nothing there, right? You're going to want to click activate voice, and once you have finished activating the voice, it'll look like this. Okay? And it'll say activated, it'll have a phone number assigned for you. At that point in time, you can now choose it in your campaign. So we're going to hop over to the campaigns tab and start with broadcast. Broadcast campaign, I'm going to do a test one real quick from step one. I'm going to type in test voice campaign. I'm going to just put a simple, hi, this is Pitchit. You just filled out our form. I'm calling to see if you're free to chat. I can transfer you to a live agent now or schedule a time in the future. Would you be available now? Something simple like that, right? Just prompting the person who answers the phone to get transferred or schedule a call. Now, I'm going to use an existing audience, but you would, at this step, you would load your file of all the people you want us to do this outbound voice campaign to. Click process. It's going to use 9 contacts from this dummy file. It's going to process them all, and then it's going to ask me which channels I want to do. Now, this is identical to the way broadcast campaigns worked for email, SMS, and WhatsApp. The only difference is I'm going to tick the box for voice, and I'm going to edit my pitch as I see fit. Let's say you want to do email, voice, and SMS. The way this would work is basically the recipients in this file would get a pitch from all 3 channels. So voice would go out first, and if voice can't get a hold of them, then it would go to SMS and email to try to get a hold of them. So let's do schedule a call with Pitchit. That's the subject line for the email. I'm going to allow calendar booking, and then I'm going to have a similar pitch. You can format it to fit what like an email would look like, right? So emails are generally bottom line written. You just filled out our form. I'm calling to see if you're free to chat. We couldn't reach you and hit voicemail, right? Now I'm going to get rid of the copy around transferring because they're not on the phone, right? They didn't answer the phone. So I'm going to say, would you like to schedule a time in the future? And then my call to action will be what days and times are you free? There. So this is like a properly written email follow-up to a voice. And then we're going to get something similar in SMS. So they didn't answer the phone. This is Pitchit. You just filled out our form. We tried calling to see if you were free to chat, but you weren't available. Can you send me some days, times when you are free for a callback? Done. So this is a solid multi-channel campaign where they're going to get a straight pitch on voice if they answer the phone to transfer now. If they don't, they're going to get an SMS and an email piggyback trying to reschedule another callback in the future. I'm going to turn on, this is another important thing you have to do for voice. You have to pick either transfer to a human and or schedule appointment. So you can do one or the other, but you can't do neither. We also allow you to do both. And so if they do both, that would look like the person, when I say, are you available now, they say yes. In that point in time, it's going to ask me, who do you want to transfer to? So I'll put in the transfer number. Make sure you include the international code, which in the United States is +1, and then the number. That's the number it will transfer to. This is the international code of that number. That's your answer. If you have a SIP URL, which in this case I don't, but if you did, this is where you'd paste your SIP URL. The phone number will get appended to the back of it, so all we need is the actual URL, and then this number will get stacked on top. And then the way that works is we'll basically SIP refer this call to you. If you don't have transfer, it's just going to offer to schedule. And if you've got both and they say, no, I'm not free now, but call me tomorrow at 9, and this is ticked on, then since it can't transfer right now, it's going to say, okay, I'm allowed to schedule appointments. So it's going to look at your calendar, and it's going to actually book a call for tomorrow at 9 onto the calendar that you have integrated with your Pitchit account, which we'll get to in a bit. But in another video, we talk about how you can organize your calendar in ways where it books with the right reps. So long story short, let's move on to the next step where it asks for follow-ups. Now, in follow-ups, we tell them which days and times that we want the follow-ups to occur. And so if they don't answer the phone or SMS or email, or if they answered it but didn't actually get scheduled or transferred, then there's some follow-ups that have to happen to get a hold of them. So you can actually get them transferred into your call center or at least scheduled with them. And so you tell us how many follow-ups you want and then how many follow-ups per 24-hour period. So the way this reads is if I get a lead on a Tuesday, for example, the first attempt will go out within 30 seconds of that lead being added to this campaign, right, that I loaded in. But if they don't answer or reply to the text or email, then tomorrow we're going to do follow-up attempt number 1 on Wednesday, starting at 9 a.m., but before 5 p.m. And then Thursday we'll do follow-up attempt 2, Friday follow-up attempt 3, nothing open on Saturday, Sunday, follow-up attempt 4 on Monday, follow-up attempt 5 on Tuesday. Now, if I change this to I can do 3 in a day, now on Tuesday I load this campaign and launch it. On Wednesday I would get follow-up attempts 1, 2, and 3. And then on Thursday, I would get follow-up attempts 4 and 5. And they would be spread throughout 9 and 5 according to the schedule, right? So this is just like some follow copy, just following up. This is just me filling out the required contents. The only thing with voice here is you can't change the follow-up because we do have disclosures that are really important. And so like if you've got disclosures, right, like let's go back one step and let's put some disclosures in here. Like this is Pitchit. You just filled out a form. I'm calling on a recorded line, right? So we're talking about being recorded. If you are in a state where you have to be recorded and tell them you're being recorded, we're telling them why we're calling. We're calling because you just filled out the form, and we're telling them who we are, right? So this is like a standard disclosure, and we don't want to get rid of that in follow-ups. You always want the disclosure, and so whatever you put into that section, it's going to include it in the follow-up attempts. But email and SMS are different, right? So they don't require the same disclosure. You can slightly change your follow-up copy. I'm going to go to the next step where it asks me to either launch the campaign now or schedule it for later. If I launch it now, all 9 of those people in this file are going to get an immediate outbound dial simultaneously. And if they don't answer, it's going to go on to SMS and email, and they'll all start their own journey. So one person might answer and get transferred. Great. That person in the inbox, it's going to show them as closed 1, like this little money sign, because they got transferred. If they don't get transferred, they'll be hot, warm, or cold. So these ones are hot. These ones, let's see if we can get a cold one. I'll change one to cold. This could be cold or warm. This is just based on the transcript. What are they saying in the SMS campaign? What are they saying in the voice campaign, right? Now, back to the campaign that we were building earlier, I'm going to move to the second option, which is to schedule for later. This is simply put, like you loaded this file, but let's say it's Friday night at 5. You obviously don't want all those calls to go out now. You can schedule it in the future, and that moment in time that you schedule in the future is when the campaign will go out. Final step, you click Pitchit, and you're done. Campaign goes out, okay? Workflows are a little different because you're not loading a file. You're actually integrating a system of record with Pitchit. So all the steps are the exact same except for the second one. So I'm going to get through this and just put test copy here just so we can see the difference. Test. And it's asking me to set up Zapier if I want to. So I could integrate like HubSpot or Salesforce or Google Forms or some, 7,000 other apps could be integrated here. I'm not going to do that in today's call because I have tons of other videos on integrations. So I'm going to skip it today. But that is the only difference between broadcast and workflow is you got to choose how you want to integrate. Other than that, the voice channel and the SMS and the email, they look the exact same. So you still have the option to transfer a schedule. You still got to put in the phone number, and then you still have to go and set up your follow-ups. It works identically, but there is a difference in workflow in that broadcast would have sent that message through voice, SMS, and email to all 9 people at the same time, and then the follow-ups would occur at a similar cadence for all of them. But workflow, it's only going to do one conversation at a time because you're only piping people to Pitchit one at a time. So if they fill out the form on your site, that one person who filled out the form is going to get their journey started on a Wednesday. But if next Monday someone fills it out, their journey will start on Monday. And so you'll have all these unique journeys in a workflow versus broadcast where like everybody starts the broadcast at the same time and would theoretically end at the same time. And the only way that they wouldn't end at the same time is if they answer the phone and get transferred, tell you to stop calling them, or just use some language that makes us think we need to leave them alone, right? And so they have unique journeys that all start at the same time in broadcast versus workflow. That's basically the difference, and that's why in workflow you don't load a file, you actually just integrate it with wherever that system of record is where that lead lives. Other than that, though, that is, long story short, how you build voice. So you start with turning the channel on in your profile, and then you go to the broadcast and workflow campaigns. At that point in time, you'll see the voice box tick as an option. The box will be empty, and you can tick it, and then you would put in your follow-ups and launch it. Thanks for watching.